Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the last in this year's series of our Women in Technology Leadership Development. Tonight's session is Mindfulness for Today's Busy Woman, and it's being presented by Detria Moore. But before I turn it over to Detria, I wanted to welcome you. My name is Peggy White. I am the Associate Dean and Director for IT Programs here at WGU and the sponsor for the Women in Tech Student Club. My colleague Dana Cobbs is here tonight. She is also my joint sponsor for the Women in Tech Student Club, and Dana is the Director for our Academic Delivery Group. So we're delighted that you're here tonight. I just wanted to remind everyone who is an IT student that there is an electronic award for this. This is kind of an experiment we're doing this year, so we are limiting it to a small, to the group of IT students this year. But if you go to the Leadership Development website, you'll find directions for submitting your application. You do have to watch or participate in all of these and submit a reflection. And I'll go ahead and put the website here in the chat so you'll know where to find it. And the form is live and it will tell you everything you need to do to participate in that if you want to receive an electronic certificate for attending these sessions that you can use on LinkedIn or your profile or however you would like to use it. So please reference that, and I'll also put my email address in here if you have any questions about that at all. And we will try to get an email out to all the participants, reminding you about this process and how it's going to work this year. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Detria. She has presented for us before. She's an amazing presenter, and we're so happy to have her back. So, Detria, I'll let you introduce yourself and kick off your session tonight.
Thank you so very much. It is always an absolute pleasure and delight to be here with the Women in Technology and to present. And so I am excited tonight to present on mindfulness. It's a bit of a change from what I've kind of spoken on before, but one that I think is still useful and helpful. Before I bring up the presentation, I did just want to come on camera to give you the opportunity just to kind of put a face with a name, to say hello and to introduce myself. I am an instructor actually in the College of Business at WGU. School of Business, excuse me. I have been with WGU for over 10 years now. I'm coming up on 11 years, working with both undergraduate and master's level students pursuing their MBA. And as always, I just enjoy working with our night owls in any capacity. And that includes sort of coming across the aisle and working with some colleagues and students here in the School of IT as well. So thank you all for coming tonight. I know this might be considered sort of extracurricular, so I think it really just shows your level of dedication to what it is that you are trying to pursue. And I appreciate you. Appreciate you for being here tonight. I live in Virginia with my husband and two kids. I always kind of hesitate saying two kids because I don't want to make it seem like my two kids live here. One does. She's actually a student herself here at WGU. She is also in the School of Business pursuing a degree in marketing. And then I have a son who is pursuing his master's at the Juilliard School in New York. And so being a wife, being a mother, being an employee, having community interests, having friends and things outside of work is probably a story that you are quite familiar with as well. If I asked you today how many hats you wear, would we be able to count them all? We do so much. We have so many responsibilities and things that we have to do, important things. We're not just kind of wasting our time away. but we can sometimes get very lost in that. And so, what I want to do tonight is really kind of talk about how we can engage in mindfulness, even with the busy schedules that we have and all of the things that we have to do. I'm going to come off camera here because I'm kind of working with two screens and I don't want you to kind of see the side of my face the whole time. But I did just want to come on in the beginning just to say hello and give you the opportunity to kind of to see my face there. So I am going to pull up our presentation that we're going to use tonight. And I don't know, maybe you can relate to what you're seeing here. Maybe you feel like this woman here who is just, on the go, working all the time and is just busy and is really just kind of going from one thing to the next, right? You probably can feel like her. And I feel like this sometimes, so much so that I can find it difficult to really engage in the things that I should be engaging in. But today we want to kind of focus on ways that we can integrate mindfulness into the busy lives that we lead. All right, so we're going to kind of first just go over what we're going to actually cover today. We're going to start by sort of introducing mindfulness. Maybe this is a term that you've heard before, but you don't really know much about. Maybe you've never heard it and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Well, no problem. We're going to go over sort of an intro to mindfulness today. We're going to talk about the benefits of mindfulness. We're also going to talk about the challenges and distractions that keep us from being mindful individuals. Then we're going to go over actual techniques. This is not exhaustive, of course, but we're going to highlight some techniques today. And then we'll focus on how we can incorporate that into our daily routine. And then I want to leave space for actually trying some of these out. If you've never done some of these before, find which one is maybe working for you. So that is what's on the agenda for tonight. If at any time we are going through this, you've got a question or a comment, I do have the chat up. I can see, definitely just let me know and we can pause, make sure you get your questions answered as well. Okay, so let's kind of then now move to defining what mindfulness is. Just do this introduction here to mindfulness. Just by maybe show of hands or maybe in the chat, how many of you have seen or heard of a quote like this or have seen this exact quote? Life is short. Enjoy every moment. Um, you've seen it? Okay, I'm seeing hands go up. Yes, ma'am. We've all seen that, right? We hear it, we know it. Okay, what does that actually mean, right? What does it actually mean when we say life is short, enjoy every moment? Is it really just this passing saying? Is it just this sort of cliche that we kind of use or that we hear of, like stop and smell the roses? Well, maybe, right? But there is some truth to this. On one hand, life is short. On one hand, it certainly is. It can be argued that life is short. And Sierra, absolutely, like we don't know when our time may be up. So certainly life is short. You want to kind of enjoy it. But what mindfulness is going to teach us is that we might not get to or have to enjoy every single moment, but we should strive to live and be present in every moment, right? And so that's what we're going to kind of talk about and really dive into. So when we talk about mindfulness, right, this definition of it, it is the practice of being fully present and maintaining a moment by moment awareness and acknowledgement of your thoughts, your feelings, your surroundings, and doing so without judgment. It is you being present in the moment and all that that moment brings. And let's face it, sometimes the moment might not bring you good things. It might be some challenging things you have to work through. But mindfulness is going to teach us to be present in the moment, to have an awareness of that, to do it in a non judgmental way. And it's going to allow us to just fully engage with life as it unfolds. So, this is about you being completely aware of what's happening in the present. It's about you being aware of all that's going on inside of you, all that is happening around you, not just going about your day on autopilot, but instead you're experiencing life as it is unfolding moment to moment, the good and the bad, but with no preconceived notions or judgments. Okay. So that's kind of what mindfulness is. Now, why would we do this? Why should we engage in this? What is the importance of it, especially for us as busy women? Well, when we, as busy women, engage in mindfulness, it really provides us the tools, and really these can be powerful tools to help us manage stress, to enhance our focus and just improve our overall well-being. And we're going to dive a little bit into some of those in a bit here, but it empowers us to reconnect with ourselves even in the midst of all the responsibilities that we have to do. As busy women, we just cannot lose sight of us. We know the importance of staying connected with our spouses or staying connected with our children, with our friends, with our community, with whatever the things are that are important to you. But it's just as important that you stay connected to you, that you take stock of what's going on with you. There's even science behind this that kind of talks about how mindfulness leads to these measurable changes in our brain structure, or how it enhances our emotional regulation, our cognitive flexibility, how it can even help us reduce things like anxiety or depression. There's some science behind all of that, but at the core of this is you really knowing you so that you can better you. That's kind of really what it's all about, right? And I hate to kind of say it that way because I know sometimes when we hear this focus on ourself, it sounds a little cringy. Like I don't want the focus on me all the time, and but there's a balance to that, I think, and there is some good that can come out of that as well. So this is why it's important. But now let's kind of look at um, some common misconceptions to mindfulness. And I want to kind of deal with one of them that really is sort of front and center for a lot of people. This idea of whether mindfulness is a religious practice versus a secular practice. Some people are going to shy away from mindfulness because they think that it's too religious in nature. They don't want that. They want something secular. Then there are going to be some people who shy away from it because they feel it's secular and it's going to pull them away from their religion. But even though there's some religious what is the word I'm looking for, origins to this, um, at the heart of what it is, it's just a neutral practice, right? It's just a neutral practice. I think it also leaves space though for you to incorporate it in a way that makes sense for you. I, as a woman of faith, and very proud of my faith, I would incorporate mindfulness in a way that makes sense to my religious beliefs and what I feel. But there's ways that you can do it if that's not who you are, if that's not what you are about. There's ways that you can do it where it doesn't have that at all. So for example, when I meditate, I could say, hey, mindfulness involves meditating. Well, when I meditate, for me, what that might mean as a person of faith might be something different from what it means from someone who is not. And that's okay. That's okay, right? We're still engaging in this practice of being aware of what's going on in us and around us. So that's one misconception. The other misconception is, well, is this all just about trying to get us to relax? Is this really all about us just trying to clear our minds? And the answer is no. No, it's not. While yes, practicing mindfulness can be relaxing, the focus of it really is on your observation of your thoughts and your feelings and your surroundings. It's more than just you trying to clear your mind, because the goal isn't for you to have no thoughts at all. But the goal is for you to be aware of your thoughts, aware of your feelings, aware of your impressions within you and the environment around you. So it's not just about clearing your mind. It's also not just about trying to achieve a state of bliss. No. Remember, the aim here of mindfulness is that you have an awareness of your feelings and emotions and the things that are going on around you, that you're present in the moment. And the truth of the matter is, the moment might not always be pleasant. The truth of the matter is that you might be experiencing some things that feel challenging to you, and that's okay. Because what this is going to eventually lead you to do is to know how to respond to that and how to react appropriately to that. It's also a misconception to assume that mindfulness is a cure all. It is not. It is not. This is not going to solve all your problems. All this is a tool that's going to help you when you practice it consistently to bring about mental clarity, to bring about awareness, to really help you know what your next steps are. But it's not going to take away all your problems. It's not going to cure all your anxiety or whatever the issues may be. Okay. All right, let's move on to some benefits here. What are some benefits to being mindful? There's a few here that we want to focus on. The first one is stress reduction. Stress reduction. Practicing mindfulness helps to reduce your stress by promoting relaxation. It helps to promote mental clarity. There are some studies that even show that engaging in mindfulness might even help decrease your cortisol levels. And if you've heard that buzzword around, everybody's kind of focused on their cortisol levels, right? Because it helps reduce stress. And are you keeping it in your belly? Are you keeping it here? It's a buzzword that we all kind of know, right? But there are some studies that kind of show, that maybe that is that's involved with stress reduction. But overall, this is just a tool that can help us manage stress, that can help us manage anxiety, especially when we are trying to balance these multiple roles, right? It's empowering us to prioritize our mental health, to try to find tranquility in the daily chaos of life that we have going on. So, this is one benefit to conducting or engaging in mindfulness. Another is just an enhanced focus. Mindfulness training, and that kind of use that word training specifically there because, again, this is something that, at least for me, it didn't come naturally. It was not second nature. It was something that I have to be, I hate to use this word, but mindful, have to be mindful about being mindful. I have to be deliberate about it. I have to be intentional about it. But one of the things it does is helps to increase my focus, right? It improves my ability to concentrate a little bit more. It gives me such a state of awareness that it's easier for me to focus on all the tasks that I have, and to do so without distraction whenever I engage in some of these mindful activities. Right. So often just simply giving voice to the distractions helps to alleviate it or at least to keep it at bay. If you are very busy with so many things on your plate, just the simple act of stopping. Like I had to do this week, right? WGU has made some changes. You guys, as students, probably all know you can't find your resources these days, right? So we're looking for our resources. There's all this work that we have to do to kind of get prepared for that. I've got some personal family things going on. I've got some church things that are just really, really busy. And, I'm in a stage of life where life is just, I feel like really kicking my butt. And I felt really bad. And so as I was working on this, I kind of had to stop. And I just had to say, okay, I've got to get my focus back. So what I need to do is really just sort of give voice to what's going on. We're going to talk about journaling in a little bit. I write a lot. So I'm writing this out. This is a stressor in my life right now. At this season in my life, this is going on. And I kind of just have to pause, give voice to some of these things that are happening, and just being able to write them down, just being able to give voice to them really removes it almost, or removes the sting of it being a distraction, because now my mind isn't cluttered about with all of these things. It's written down, it's on a piece of paper. It's not going anywhere, right? The situation has not changed. I still got the stressors, still got the stuff going on, still got busyness, still have all this stuff that I got to do. But just being able to write it down keeps it from almost just crowding my mind so much. So I'm now able to focus a little bit more and the distractions are less just by kind of engaging and writing it down and giving voice to it. All right, another benefit here is improved emotional well being. Regularly practicing mindfulness enhances just your overall emotional intelligence and your overall emotional resilience. It leads to stronger emotional intelligence just overall, right? When we as women are able to regulate the negative thoughts, the emotions, the things that we're feeling and going through, it just helps us improve all these different areas of our lives. One of the things that also helps to improve is relationships. It helps to improve relationships. Mindfulness fosters this sense of empathy and compassion, which are all healthy components of a healthy relationship. Because once I am able to really be present and aware in what I'm feeling and experiencing, I can kind of communicate it a little bit better. And that just helps to improve relationships in general. For example, okay, this week has been absolutely crazy with all the stuff that's going on. I need to kind of, I call it sit with myself. I need to kind of sit with myself a little bit and really process what I'm feeling and what's happening. That allows me to better be able to communicate to my spouse, you know what? You might want to eat out for the next 2 days while I work on this. Or it helps me to be able to communicate to my family, to my friends, what I need in this moment because I am aware of how I'm feeling. I am aware of its impact on me. And now I can ask for help. Now I can communicate what I need or where I'm at. All of that just really improves relationships in general. Okay. So this is all the things that are kind of benefits. Now, I'm going to kind of stop sharing here because I don't know if I can launch a poll at the same time, but I want to. Can I? I don't think I can. I'm going to come back to this, but I want to kind of move into some of the different challenges of what may happen. And I think I see a hand up. I don't know if that was from before or if that's a question, but I will pause to see, Dominique, if you have a question or if you were just raising your hand from before when we were talking about answering the question. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. I'm going to pull this app up and please let me know if you can see it. I want to kind of just see what you believe are hindrances and distractions that maybe keep us from engaging in mindfulness. Are you all able to kind of see that poll? I launched it. You can say, okay, great. So just start typing in there. We'll kind of see, what all of us believe are some hindrances and hopefully can even address those once we kind of get to seeing where everyone's mind's at. No problem. Okay. Mm, I see them coming in. Okay. Everyday stress. Ooh, time. Mm-hmm. Just not scheduling enough. Yep. Seems like time. Money. Okay, that's interesting. I'm gonna take a note of that. I did not have that covered, but I do want to address that. So thank you, whoever typed that in. Work-life balance. Got it. Stress. Mm-hmm. The guilt. Oh, that's a big one. How many of us have heard that, right? Or not heard it, but we've felt it. I felt it for years that self-care seemed selfish. We'll kind of address that too. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you guys for filling this out. I think we kind of have a big one. Oh, you can't see it? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'll tell you, if you want to type your answers in the chat, we'll kind of make sure we can get them in there, or I'll take note of it. But hmm. See another one here that kind of came through as well that I hadn't thought about. I'm going to write as well, and that is shame. Okay. Huh. Okay. Thank you all for filling that out. I'm going to go ahead and pull our presentation back up. I think we're going to address some of these for sure. And the ones that I have not addressed, I've written down so that we can maybe have a quick conversation about it. And if you feel comfortable, if you put down money or if you put down shame, if you feel comfortable maybe expanding upon that, just so that I kind of know where maybe you're thinking, we can kind of maybe have a discussion about it. But we're going to address some of these now. Let me pull our presentation back up here. Here we go. So, yeah, we've got these challenges. We've got these challenges that we know we have to kind of overcome. And one of the biggest challenges or the things that keep us distracted from engaging in mindfulness, and it was probably one of the bigger ones that I saw highlighted in our word cloud there, was the time constraints. Time constraints. Um, Time constraints. Listen, we're busy, right? That's why you're here, right? Because we're talking about mindfulness for the busy woman. We've got busy schedules, and often it just leaves little room for any self care practices. We often find it difficult as women to allocate specific time for mindfulness or for self care. And that just results in these reduced opportunities. Um, Thank you. Thank you for expanding that comment. For stress relief and for personal reflection. But mindfulness does not have to take a lot of time. So it is a myth that to engage in mindfulness, you have to have just an absorbent amount of time to practice it, to do it, to set it aside. You may even believe that mindfulness is really just for those who have, hours to sit and meditate. No, it does not have to be that. What I would not want you to do is to not engage in mindfulness because you think that it's going to take up so much of your time, or you think that it's going to be just another thing that you got to add to your to-do list. Got to take care of myself, put that on the to-do list. Then we're not going to really realize the benefits of it, right? I don't want you to think that as well. You don't have to have and dedicate long hours to this. I don't want you to think that it's just another thing to add to your list to do, because in reality, mindfulness can be practiced in as little as a few minutes each day. And again, we're going to talk about that. And so this is something that can really be practiced throughout your day. It can be practiced throughout activities that you're already doing so that it doesn't feel like it's something that's just so far off. So, time, yes, but we want to talk about okay, even though we're busy, there are times, opportunities, and moments that we can incorporate mindfulness into our already busy schedule. So we've got that. Another one that we tend to see is, and we kind of saw this as well, this idea about balancing your work and personal life, trying to find the equilibrium between professional obligations and personal responsibilities. It's a challenge, right? We often struggle with trying to prioritize our well being in the midst of everything that we've got going on, right? Our family needs us. Our jobs, we need them, and they need us, right? We maybe have to, maybe some of us have to work. It's not an option to not work. We've got other interests. We're involved in our communities or churches or other groups. Maybe we've got parents we're taking care of. We're trying to balance all of the things. Can sleep count as mindfulness? We're going to talk about that in just a minute here. Um, and so maybe we can balance, we have to try to balance all of these things, and trying to find that balance, trying to find that equilibrium and balance it all can seem futile. Like, why bother? Why bother when I don't have the time, or when I'm already pressed for time, trying to balance everything else on my plate? Why would you ask one more thing for me to put on my plate and try to do? But again, there's benefit to that. So I know, that question might have kind of been done tongue in cheek, like, can sleep count as mindfulness? Listen, I used to be the queen of rest. If you had asked me, in fact, just this past week, I was in a meeting and someone said, hey, we've got a long weekend coming up. What is everyone doing for the long weekend? And someone said, sleep. I'm resting. I'm doing nothing. I'm just going to rest and sleep. And how many times have you said that? Have you done that? Maybe you didn't do anything. Maybe you did just sort of sit around the house, binge watch a show, or not only say binge watch a show, just do nothing. For some people, maybe that works. For a lot of people, it might not work because resting or doing nothing doesn't fill your cup for a lot of people. We've all heard that saying, right? You can't pour from an empty cup. Well, for some people, maybe it does come down just to a matter of rest and sleep. And if it does, great for you. But for others, we might have to actually do something, find something to fill it. And just doing nothing doesn't kind of fill your joy cup, right? Um, I never worked out, hardly ever in my life. Did in high school. After high school, college, forget it. Got married, had babies. It's a wrap. I'm not working out. Now that my kids are older, they're out of the house. We're not schooling. We don't homeschool them anymore. I said, I'm going to start doing something for me. I'm going to start working out. If I didn't shift and change my mindset that I had to do something to kind of help fill my cup, I might still, and again, this is, you do what you have to do for you. But who would have ever thought that going to the gym 3, 4 times a week, sometimes five, working out and lifting weights would be the thing that fills my cup? Old school Detria would have never, ever thought it, but that fills my cup. So it might seem counterintuitive that you have to do something to fill your cup when all you really want to do is nothing. But sometimes that might actually have to be the thing that you give into as well. Okay. I'm just going to kind of pause here and look through some of the comments and questions. Got it. Okay. I'm going to address that. Yep. hmm Forgive me. I'm just reading through. Yeah. Busy schedules for sure. That's good. I thank you for that comment there that just came through. Great, great, great. All right, I love it. Thank you. Thank you guys for sharing those things. Um, so in addition to that, we've got this idea of mental overload. Now for me, this is a big one here because even if I'm not physically tired, I'm probably going to feel the overload more mentally than I am physically or before I feel it physically. There is pressure to manage all of these roles that we have on, and it just leads to mental fatigue. You are just, and yes, Mercedes, that is a word that I have used. I have started using. I think it has become my clutch word now in the past year when I am trying to explain to my husband what is going on. All it is I'm just overstimulated right now. Everybody needs me. Somebody's pulling on me. I feel overstimulated, and I absolutely, absolutely get that. And so the brain fatigue, the mental fatigue of it all, that just absolutely wears you down more and before you even start to feel it physically. You just get burnout, right? We call it things like burnout. We just call it, I just can't focus. I've got diminished focus. All of these things then further inhibit our ability to practice mindfulness, right? And to engage in mindful practices because I'm just mentally so over it. If I have to kind of drum up the mental power to think of it, to do it, to blah, 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 it might just not get done. And so we've got all of these things, right? All of these things here that, that just prohibit us. So we've got the mental overload of it. We have societal expectations, right? Society still expects for us as women to balance it all, right? You want a career. You guys are here in school. You are wanting a career, but you probably want or even already have a family. You've got a social life. You got friends you need to keep up with. You've got other community expectations and things like that. And sometimes we just put this unrealistic pressure on us that makes us feel inadequate because somewhere along the way we brought into this idea that we should have and do it all and do it well at all times. Mindfulness would encourage me to say, you might not be able to have it all right now. You might not be able to do it all well right now, but it gives us the opportunity to manage as best we can, right? To manage as best we can. So we've got these societal expectations. And even then, it ends up being like a self sabotage, right? Because your first instinct might be to start putting more time towards these roles that you have. Oh, I'm a student. I need to put in maybe more time to being a better student or more time to studying. I also have to work. I should probably put in more time to being a better employee. Or, we saw this up here, the cost of having a family. you can't just ignore your kids for, the 2 or 3 years that you're in school, right? You cannot do that. You have to be a mom. You're married. You have to be a wife, a spouse, and so you've got a parent you're trying to take care of. You just can't let you've got all of these different things that you have to do, and the first instinct would be, try to balance that time, and so it might seem counterintuitive to tell you to take some time for yourself when you're already like, how? You might say, Detria, how? How am I going to do that when I'm already stretched so thin with what I have to do? It would seem intuitive to try to practice mindfulness, to take that time for yourself, but you're not going to really take away. You might be thinking, well, won't that take away from what I'm supposed to be doing? But here is the interesting thing that I think happens. When you do start to engage in mindfulness, even with all that you've got going on, it helps to bring about mental clarity for you. And in that mental clarity for you, it helps you decide, am I doing what I need to be doing? Should I really be doing all of these things right now? It helps you decide, is there anything that I can take off of my plate? It helps you to decide what I need to focus on at the moment. If you don't have the mental clarity to do that, if you don't have the space mentally to do that, you're just going to keep spinning your wheels, living life on autopilot, and that's just not how it's supposed to be. And yes, that's exactly right. It's basically it's you being present, but how you're going to do that, that's what all of us try to find out, right? So it's you being present in the moment, aware of your feelings, in you, aware of your surroundings and the environment around you, so that it leads to these things like mental clarity, a little bit of relaxation, and all of those types of benefits. All right, so that is kind of the social expectations part of it. Now, what are we talking about here? How is this going to kind of help with that? CBT, are we talking about cognitive behavioral therapy? Is that, or am I thinking of another definition here for CBT? Yes, okay. Um, it could, yes. I think that it could. I think that it could. That's gets I know into a lot of maybe therapy type stuff that I'm probably not an expert in at all. But I think it could absolutely help and lead uh to being mindful. It is because a lot of times you are helping people try to be mindful of their actions and try to redirect their actions and redirect their behaviors and change their behaviors so that they have an awareness of it. And so that is absolutely one I could see. All right, so now let's kind of look at some practices. What are some things that you can do to practice mindfulness? And we're going to actually do some of these in just a minute here, but I want to talk about a few of them first. So, first is mindful breathing. I know that might seem like, well, don't we just breathe every day? What is the difference between regular old breathing and mindful breathing? Well, mindful breathing involves you really paying close attention to the breathing process. You are focused on how you're inhaling and you're exhaling. It's really a simple breathing exercise. You are focusing maybe on belly breathing, the air sort of filling your lungs and your diaphragm. This is something that you can practice quickly to help keep you sort of grounded and present. It brings the focus back in a little bit. It helps to reduce anxiety because you're really, instead of just kind of panting and going through it, you're really focused on your breathing. You are being deliberate and intentional about how you're pacing your breathing, how you're inhaling and exhaling. And again, this is something that you can do quickly all throughout your day to try to help you refocus. So that is one technique, mindful breathing. Another one, a body scan. Um, Again, this is another one we're going to kind of practice a little bit here, but this is a way for you to try to systematically bring attention to the parts of your body that need it. You sort of start with the top of your head and you focus your attention shifting from your head down to your body. You are making a realization of what you're feeling. What are you feeling as you think about, and bring your attention from your head down to your ears, your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your arms, your fingers. You are being so very cognizant of how that particular part of the body feels. What are sensations that you feel there throughout your body? And this is going to help you identify areas of tension. It's going to help you um, identify where you're tense, where you need to relax a little bit and alleviate any sort of physical tension that's going there. And you can do this several times. Now, this picture has her sort of, laying down and doing it. And you can do it that way if you have the time. If not, sit in your chair at work and do it. I've done it, and we're going to do a little bit of it here today. But yeah, that's kind of what this technique is all about. So you can do it, while you're laying down or you just do it throughout the day. Just a quick check throughout the day. All right, another one here is guided meditations. Some people find this very, very helpful. This is just someone giving you verbal instructions that are leading you throughout like a meditation process. It could be simple as far as them telling you to how you focus your breath and your focus your breathing and that sort of thing. It could be more elaborate. You've all seen, the people telling you, imagine you're at the beach, you hear the sound of the waves, the seagulls are in that's kind of what guided meditation is. And that works for some people, right? This is helpful for beginners because instead of trying to figure out what to do, you've got someone guiding you and helping you. So this is another thing that just makes it even more accessible for people, even when you are on the go. And they have these everywhere. You can go on YouTube and find them as short as just 3 minutes a day, maybe even 5 to 10 minutes or longer if you need it. But it helps clear the mind. It helps increase you being productive. Sometimes you might use imagery to help you really kind of focus in. But if you've got just 5 minutes to spare throughout your busy day, do something like this, right? Um, and so, Brooke, I think the one of these next ones is going to help with that because I sort of have felt the same way as well. So not this next one, but the one that's going to come up in the next slide afterwards. So, mindful walking. Mindful walking is helpful, right? This is simply, again, you being present during the moment, focusing on your walking. You might go for walks as it is, and maybe your idea for going for walks is just to, burn off last night's dinner or tonight's dinner, or maybe it's just, because for exercise purposes, you're already going to do it anyway. Why not change it into a mindful walking experience? So as you're walking, you're not just kind of hitting the pavement and going about it, but you are being very cognizant of how your feet are hitting the pavement and the movement of your feet on the ground. You're focusing on each step. If you're like me, I go to the gym, I put on headphones and everybody and everything gets, kind of tuned out. But maybe when you go for a walk, you're more cognizant of the environment around you. If you're going walking on a trail, can you hear nature a little bit? What do you see as you're walking? What does your surroundings look like? And so even though you might just be going for a walk just to go for a walk, you can turn it into a mindful walk to bring about this sort of peaceful, mindful practice that you can integrate into something that you're already doing. And so this next one I think might be helpful. And Danny, yep, that's a great one. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit too here. But journaling. Journaling, I think, is helpful. Journaling is a big one for me. This allows you the opportunity to reflect on your thoughts and your feelings to help enhance emotional clarity. It helps you process your experiences and helps to really identify stressors. And so the fact of you having to write down your thoughts and write down your feelings, it really helps you come up with a word that is adequate. And even if, and I think it's okay to do this, again, I call it sort of sitting with myself a lot, but even if I'm having a hard time to put into words, that wrestling that we have to do, what am I really feeling? I know I'm feeling something. We say things like, I'm feeling some type of way. We say that often, right? I'm just feeling some type of way. But what are we really feeling? What are we really feeling? How am I going to articulate this into words? I might need to really sit with myself and process this. Maybe I'm me saying stressed. That's so general. Okay, maybe it is stress, but maybe there's another word for that. Maybe there's a better feeling to articulate that. Is it overwhelm? Is it overstimulation? Am I just feeling suffocating right now because everything is creeping in on me? And there's all sorts of tools and things that we can look up. We used to have a chart when I homeschooled my kids when they were younger and they were in school. And we used to have a chart that said, it was a chart we had for English, but it said a better way to say whatever word. And so it had a whole list of words there. And it would say, well, if you're writing an essay or a paper, the better way to say this word is to use that word. And you can do the same thing with your emotions. There's all kinds of tools out there where you can kind of process and look at that. And yes, I love that too. Feeling Wills absolutely says, okay, this is really what I'm feeling. Um, and even though we're kind of talking about mindfulness with you, if you got to reach out for help, that's okay. That is okay. I found myself um, really at a crosshairs when my kids graduated. We had homeschooled, they had graduated, they were kind of gone and going on to adults. And I thought, what is what am I doing? I'm kind of facing a midlife crisis here. I just reached out to a coach. Just reached out to a coach. Like I gotta get some help with that, and that's okay. It's okay to do that as well. So whatever you have to do. So journaling is a big one. All right. And so now we're going to talk about how we can incorporate this, right? We know that these are the techniques. We can do breathing exercises, we can do journaling, we can do mindful walks. Okay, how are we going to incorporate this then into our busy schedules? Because we can know what it is, we can know why it's important, we can know, what to do. Now, how? How do we do it? So this is incorporating mindfulness into our busy schedule. And so on one hand, you might just have to set aside time. And I know you're like, we just talked about the fact that we don't have time. We just talked about the fact that time is limited. I would encourage you, if you're able to, and this might not be the first place that you start, but set aside some time. Absolutely, Sierra. I love it. Plan ahead, right? Allocate some time, even if it's just 5 minutes. Allocate some time that you can set aside, even if it is just for a few minutes a day. That's going to help you significantly enhance your mental clarity and your peace. Make it a routine. And you all know routines don't happen easily. They don't happen haphazardly. We have to be deliberate and intentional about doing it, even when we don't feel like doing it. But set it aside and make it a priority, even in the midst of your hectic schedule. And set aside a time that really works for you. You might have something like morning meditations. Morning meditations. You might have something like evening reflections. For me, morning meditations is kind of what I do. Again, I'm going to, read scriptures. I'm going to do things in the morning. That is what kind of fuels me. That gives me clarity and peace of mind. I've got another friend who does evening reflections. He keeps like a notebook by his nightstand so that at the end of the day, when he's going to sleep or before he goes to sleep, he is writing down his day. He's processing his day. What happened today? Is there anything I should take notice of today? How did I feel throughout the day? Did my emotions or anything shift throughout the day? Just going to write it down in there. So, doing an evening reflection might work for you. Doing morning meditations might work for you. But find some time that you can set aside. And I am like you as well. Like I had to do it when everybody is asleep. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. I've lived it. And for me, it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. Um, so yes, yes, and same here, prayers in the morning. I'm not a coffee drinker, but when it gets a little cold, I'll have a nice cup of tea, and that does it for me. All right. So we've got this, the fact that you might just have to set aside time. But then there's also ways that you can incorporate mindfulness into your work. How do you incorporate mindfulness into your work? First, I think doing so is going to help you be productive. It's going to help reduce stress. But even doing something simple like those breathing techniques that we talked about throughout the day can help. Even if you just need to get up and for 2 or 3 minutes, just sort of take a short mental break to refocus, that's going to transform your work environment. That's going to make it more peaceful, right? Because if you're lucky, um, you're going to work 8 hours a day. You're going to have to figure out something so that you can remain a peaceful, calm, productive person at work, and incorporating mindfulness into your day. Yes, utilizing your 15-minute breaks to do one of these, absolutely, like those work as well. All right, another thing that we can do to incorporate it is again just incorporating it into our already routine activities that we're doing. Eating, walking, driving, even chores. As you're doing chores, can you stop and be present in the moment? Not stop, but can you just be present in the moment as you're washing dishes, as you are, sweeping your floor? That's just you pausing. How do you feel as you're doing that? What are the sensations that are kind of going on around you as you're doing that? So, even engaging fully in these activities enhances your awareness, right? And it connects you to being in the present. If you're a planner like me, and I mean, I stay 10 steps ahead. I try to. I've got to stop. I've got to stop and I have to really be intentional about being in this moment. Doesn't mean you don't plan, doesn't mean you just let every day happen as it will. I mean, some stuff we got to plan for, right? But I am a planner. I keep a planner next to me at all times. I keep paper next to me all the time for that exact same reason, Kate, because I'm going to have to get it out of my mind and I'm going to dump it on the paper. And that's why if you saw me when I was on camera, I had everything blurred because I have paper everywhere for that same exact reason. But find ways to incorporate mindfulness in your daily routines. And as we've already shared, there are all kinds of apps and things that you can use as well. I keep, yes, to-do lists, my favorite. I'm trying so that I can stay a little bit young here to use like my notes app on my phone. I'm just so old school. But I'm trying to do that a little bit more as well because I might just be out and I don't want to go digging through my purse to try to find paper and pencil. So I'm trying to use that notes app a little bit, but I've got to get it out. I'm going to write a to do list so that I don't forget. I've got sticky notes right now on my computer that have all kinds of things that I use all throughout the day there just to make it easier. But you might find it helpful to use some of these apps as well. Now, many of these offer both a free and a paid part. Headspace, Calm, those are two really big ones. There's a free version, but you all know the free version sometimes is a lot limited as opposed to what you can get for the paid version. But if you want to start somewhere, you can just do a free version. And some of these often have reminders on it. You want to say, hey, at least twice a day, I want to engage in this sort of activity. Put a reminder on your phone. And one of these apps can even tell you that. You've got breathing things on your Fitbit and Apple Watches that kind of help you with breathing, maybe engage in some of those that you could use. A free one, well, it's got free and it's paid, is Insight Timer. It has a lot of good free stuff that you could use there. Tappy is more for those who are like tactile. You need to, feel something. Maybe that kind of helps you with that. There's a sort of a vibration sensation that kind of goes with that. You can use that if you are into affirmations. There is the app I Am. You can even have that sent to you daily or popping up on your phone daily, so that you get these affirmations that help you sort of engage as well. All right, so these are some things there. Some other ones that you might engage in are like just finding community. If that's your thing and you want to find a community of people that engage in this as well, you can do that as well. These could be online communities. You could make it as grassroots as you want and find a local group who does that too. And then finally, build a support system. right? Having a creative, supportive network amplifies your mindfulness practice because when you are engaged with other people who share those goals, it can be helpful for you. So definitely engage in some of those. I want to kind of, I know I'm kind of moving fast here, but I want to really be able to kind of get to some of these practices a little bit. So track your progress as you're going throughout it. Maybe you keep a journal or a notepad. How many times did you engage in something mindful, and what sort of difference have you been able to see by engaging in that? So always measure your progress and check the benefits of how it has changed you and how it has helped you. Okay, now let's go ahead and practice some mindfulness because here's the thing. We've said mindfulness, it's being present in every moment. You got one day. That 24-hour day that you are given has 24 hours. It's got 1,440 minutes, 86,400 seconds. How many of those minutes, seconds, hours are going to be mindful for you? Okay, that's something that you, I hope, will decide and decide soon. All right. So let's kind of focus here on some of these different mindfulness activities. I'm going to come on camera for this, and y'all don't laugh at me, but this is one of my favorite things to do because I realize how much I keep stress in my upper body. I keep stress in my ears, my shoulders. I don't even realize sometimes, how my shoulders just kind of stay up here by my ears, and I have to just like, oh. Put them down, Deidre, hang them down. But I'm just so tense in my shoulder and my neck. So I will do this quick exercise sometimes throughout the day just to sort of refocus and get myself back together, right? This is where you focus on a particular part of your body. I'm going to focus on my upper body, my shoulders, and everything above. I'd love for you to join me and do some of these as well, but you tighten it. You make it just as tight and as tense as is comfortable. We're going to hold it for maybe 5 to 6 seconds and then you release it. And when you release it, it really shows you, man, how tense I was. I do it and I automatically start to feel my shoulders releasing a little bit. So let's kind of do this now. You're going to don't laugh at my face, but we're going to just tighten this up. Oh, the shoulders, mm, tense up my neck. Everything is tense. We're going to hold it for just a few seconds, even your face. Hold it, and now release it. Almost immediately, I feel like my shoulders are hanging half a mile lower than they were before. But this is something that you can do. Where do you keep your stress? You can do this through any part of your body that you might be experiencing. So there's exercises and things like that. There's breathing exercises. I'm going to quickly just kind of pull this up. This has you really focusing on your breathing, your inhaling and your exhaling. Follow the clues along, right? This is kind of a 4-7-8 approach. You're going to like sort of breathe in for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 7 and then release for 8. So just kind of follow the prompts here. You'll hear some music kind of going on with it, but this is something you can do that really takes less than like a minute or so to do. So let's kind of engage in this breathing exercise here. Right, I'm just going to kind of stop us there for the sake of time, but that is something that it just kind of goes through this one time. This is something I need to work on, quite honestly, because for whatever reason, as much as I work out, my breathing never is successful. Like on my little Fitbit, I'm always off on the breathing rings and that sort of thing. But that's something that you can do. This whole video is a minute and 34 seconds that you can do that. Um, yeah, and please, I hope nobody passed out. Breathe when you need to breathe. But that's an example of a breathing technique. Then you have this guided meditation and imagery. So really quickly, this is just what it might look like. We're not going to play all of this again for the sake of time, but this is something that it might look like here.
What thoughts are travelling through your mind right now? Can you give them a name? Notice your feelings. What feelings are in your body in this moment?
So that's an example of a guided meditation. That one's only about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes long, right? So if you've got 3.5 minutes, you can just go to YouTube and pull up something like this that will kind of help guide you through that. So you've got the mindful sort of guided interpretations or guided meditations there. Journaling prompts. You can go online and find all kinds of journaling prompts. Sometimes they're journaling prompts that are designed to help you self-reflect, right? What distractions are getting in the way of me being most productive? What emotions am I holding on to? Sometimes they're fun journaling prompts that are just really designed to help bring out the creativity in you, but you're just writing, what's the best outfit you've ever owned and why did you love it so much? It's just causing you to kind of think, reflect, to kind of go back on something. So journaling is a really big one that I enjoy. So you can do that. And then finally, you might just have a favorite sound. I'm not like a beach person, so the whole go to the beach and listen to the waves, that works for a lot of people. And it's kind of so-so for me, but I love the sound of rain. I love the sound of rain. I discovered a word for it a few years ago, a pluviophile. So I am a pluviophile. I love rain and the sound of rain. Rainy days, I'm all in. So I would pull up something like this and just listen to rain. In fact, when I was doing this, I left it on for an hour and completely forgot. Something like this. So something like that could work for people. Again, you find the sound that works for you. You could have it going on in the background, but these are just some examples of mindfulness that we can engage in. And Cheryl, you probably don't need an app then because you are in Seattle where it rains quite enough for probably all of us. So that is it. I hope that we at least took away something. If nothing else, then just took away the fact that we really do need to make time for this so that we can be better spouses and moms, employees, friends, all of that. So I hope you did not feel that it was selfish to engage in self care because it never is. You all have heard the saying, if you're in an airplane and something goes down, put on your own oxygen mask before you, try to help other people. That just seems so counterintuitive to those of us who are maybe so compassionate and wanting to be helpful. I hope as well that as we work through some of these, that you saw that there's free opportunities to engage in this so that you don't have to worry about money. At the end of the day, it really is you. And so you want to find the things that works for you. But I think there's enough free stuff out there that hopefully you can find some of that. And don't take the shame. Don't be shameful in needing to say, I need this. I need this. I need to have some time that I can be aware of what's going on with me so that I can be better and be the best for everyone else around me. All right. Thank you all again for another lovely session. So much. I'll stick around if anyone has any questions that I might have missed. I know we are over our time, but thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Detria, for being here. I see a lot of thanks in the chat, and we're so happy to have you here. And thank you, everyone, for attending. If you have questions, we'll stick around for a minute, but if not, we want to be mindful of your time and have a great evening.